And you have 4 minutes.
Good morning, and I would like to thank you for the opportunity to raise this issue and to we've been on other sides of the debates, Minister, but on this occasion this is very important. The amalgamation of the school in Kanturk and County Cork is a long-running issue, and there's been many promises, many commitments, many issues and press releases, and I suppose the people of the community, when they hear of another statement in relation to the school development, they throw their eyes to heaven and said, we've heard it all before. So what I'm trying to establish, we raised the issue back in March of this year to establish what was the process in relation to it, and they started with the enabling works, and that enabling works are now ongoing on the site in Kanturk. And where is the amalgamated school? I understand that there was a commitment and that there has been funding locked down over the last 8 or 9 years in relation to this project, and there's been many false dawns in relation to it. There was many people involved in it that frustrated and so forth, but there's an awful lot of work has happened on the ground to try and bring this together in relation to access and in relation to planning permission, which has gone through the rigours, and the department had to take it back to An Bord Pleanála and so forth. We have planning, we have access achieved through huge work done locally to try and establish that. What we need to see now is we need to try and get a definite time frame for the school. We want to know where the tender process is at, when is it envisaged to start construction. And I suppose one of the most fundamental issues is that, and I'd like to hear it here on the floor of the Dáil today, is like, what is the completion date for the project, and when is the school likely to open for students and teachers alike? And I do think that whilst we are discussing this today, that we need to have a very clear time frame. We need to be able to put in train clearly and absolutely on the floor of the Dáil that this project is going ahead and that there's a commitment to it. I have put more questions and topical issues, I think, on this issue than in any other issue over the number of years that I've been lucky enough to be here. And I think that we need to have a clear time frame as to the tendering process. Where is that at the moment? When will that be completed? When will construction commence? And what is the time frame for that construction? And to ask the Minister to ensure that the department and those that are involved in it, the officials that are involved in it, that whatever time frame is given or whatever commitments are given, that they're adhered to, because we do not want to go back to the communities, whether it is the school community or indeed the entire community of Kanturk and Duhallow, and they to say that we've heard it all before, because one of the issues that keeps coming up is where is the school, what is the progress in relation to the school, and when is it going to happen? Because there are generations of people since this project started. There were commitments, very flowery amalgamations going back over the years, and they've all come to naught. So I would ask the Minister to outline what he and his department are doing in relation to it, and if I may use the few minutes that I have on this to come in at later on the 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes later. Minister for Education and Skills is 4 minutes.
Gormag Lascon Gorla, agus Gormag this 8 Cheist for the Skull Igan Kanturk Corky. I'd like to thank Deputy Moynihan for raising this issue. The Deputy will recall, as he pointed out, the update on the position provided by Minister Britton back in March. He will also be aware that this project has had a difficult history, both on the site acquisition front and during the statutory planning processes, which started back in 2012. These matters have been complex to resolve, and my department fully understands the frustration that the schools and the community involved feel. As the Deputy knows, the project in question is to provide a new primary school building to accommodate the amalgamation of St Coleman's Boys National School and the Convent Girls National School in Kanturk. A 16-classroom school with the 3-classroom ASD unit is planned for delivery. The site for the project was purchased by Cork Education and Training Board, and the project is being delivered by the Office of Public Works. The project has been delayed primarily due to planning permission issues, but also due to complications around site ownership and in respect of the provision of services to the site. The resolution of these issues has involved a large number of complex and interrelated issues. These included appeals to An Bord Pleanála and the acquisition of licences to allow works to take place. These all took time to resolve. However, I am glad to be able to report that the vast majority of those issues are now resolved, and we hope that the path is now clear to progress the project as quickly as possible. I welcome the opportunity to outline to the House the up-to-date position in that respect. I'm delighted to be able to provide assurances to the Deputy that the project is now progressing well and the funding to progress it is in place to the end of this year and into next year. As Minister Bruton previously outlined, the resolution of the issues around land ownership has permitted necessary enabling works to begin. After successfully concluding the tender process for this element of the project, a contractor has been appointed and these works commenced on site on the 24th of September last. The expected time frame for completion of the works is 5 weeks, i.e. they are expected to conclude shortly. The ESB will then come to the site and check those works, following which it will programme the associated cable installation works. We do not as yet have a date for completion of this element of the programme. Meanwhile, the OPW is proceeding with the pre-qualification of contractors for the main works. It published a notice on the e-tenders website on the 4th of October last in that respect. The pre-qualification process should take 6 to 8 weeks. Once it is completed, we will then approve the project to proceed to tender and construction. And I know you did ask the question, when will it be finished? It is a little bit too early at this stage to give a definite timeline for when the project will be completed. However, I can say that all going well, the tendering for construction will take place in the first quarter of 2019.
2 minutes.
And as it is the first opportunity as we discuss education matters, may I wish you the very best of luck in your portfolio. But just in relation to it, this is where I suppose the exasperation of the community is. You know, you've said there that the contractors started work on the 24th of September, and that was to take 5 weeks. You know, that's a week or 10 days almost overdue at this stage. And what I'm saying is that if there is a time limit in this project, because people are absolutely and totally frustrated with what has happened in this project over the last number of years and decades at this stage, what we need to do is that when will the ESB come on site to check those works? Is it possible for you, Minister, to get an absolute time frame on that issue alone to ensure that we have the enabling works dealt with on the first instance, and that we can say that they are completed to the specification and to the satisfaction of both the OPW and the department and everybody and the ESB? I think that's the first question that I would ask you to clarify in relation to it. In relation to the pre-tendering process, on the website on the 4th of October, it takes 6 to 8 weeks. Can you say that, you know, will that be completed by the first week of December as the 8 weeks will elapse? Will that process be completed in? And I think we need to stick absolutely to the timeframes that are outlined, because if there's any slippage in timeframes, people get very exasperated. And then if they are approved, if the pre-qualification process is approved the first week of December, can we say that the to go to tendering process will happen in the first quarter, or how many weeks after that will it be before it goes to tender? And what is the tendering process? How long will the tendering process take? And you know, we can calculate then, but we want to know how long will the tendering process and when will the contractors be appointed to construct this project, because this is vitally important that there is no time, you know. Huge amount of work has gone in by an awful lot of people to bring it to this far, and I think that we need to make sure that the OPW, the Department of Education and all those that are involved in it, the ESB networks and so forth, stick to the times and that there is no slippage in relation to that. So I would ask you to clarify for me in relation to the 5 weeks, has that concluded, and can you give me an assurance that the pre-qualification will be completed by the first week of December?
Ministers, 2 minutes.
And how long after that before it actually goes to tender?
Okay, yeah, look, I know what you're trying to do here, Deputy. You're trying to keep the momentum going here now. You see I don't know if it's the finish line or the starting line. I presume it's the starting line and getting the diggers on site. Look, so 24th of September for these initial works, so 5 weeks out from the 24th of September. We're in that space, and obviously we're saying here that the ESB will then come to the site, so no doubt you'll use your own influence as well at a local level to make sure that levels at a school board, you know, at a school point of view and a community point of view, to make sure that happens, and certainly by raising it publicly tonight, that'll do no harm. With respect to the OPW proceeding then to the pre-qualification of contractors for the main works, it published a notice on the e-tenders website on the 4th of October. So the pre-qualification process, look, it's saying here 6 to 8 weeks. Can we guarantee that it'll be this side of Christmas or the other side of Christmas? I can't give you that commitment here tonight, but what can I say publicly is that we understand the importance, and you've articulated it very well there, the importance to this community, because it's a project that's been on the go since 2012. It's been a long journey, and obviously you want to get it over the line at this stage. But look, we're in that space now where everything is coming together. The most important part of this, the commitment for funding as well on this side, in this year's money, but also in next year's as well. So as far as I can see, there should be no delay here, and I'll certainly speak to my officials directly to make sure that this is moved along as quickly as possible.
We now move on.